time has arrived. Welcome everybody to our Cubs 360 special 2023 season look ahead. It's about to get real fun around here. We have 45 minutes and change to discuss all things 2023. So let's get those introductions out of the way. And we'll start with this man all the way on the end. Cubs new hitting coach, Dustin Kelly. Thanks for the time. Cubs third base coach, we call him Willie Chill around our parts. Willie Harris, 17-year Major League veteran, our own Cliff Floyd, and Cubs third baseman, Patrick Wisdom. Now, fellas, let's dive right in because we know there's going to be some rule changes this season. Obviously, bigger bases. There's a pitch clock when it comes to pick moves. It won't be the same. So, Cliff, I'm going to start with you to set the table here. When it comes to some of those changes, you would have never seen these 20 years ago, would you?
No, you wouldn't have. But I think, when you talk about the game evolving, I think that's what you see is, you're always trying to figure out a way to adapt and always trying to adjust. But these are bigger ones. And you try to figure out a way to have an advantage. Teams with speed, teams that are going to cause some ruckus on, some havoc on the base paths. Like, if you got speed, you got to use this to your advantage to figure out a way to get some early dubs until guys figure out.
Patrick, how's it change your approach in the batter's box? Do you feel a little bit more rushed? I know with the live BP, you guys have been experiencing that.
Yeah, yes and no. I think it's going to eliminate that kind of downtime and for those thoughts to kind of start floating in your head. It's a certain count. Is he going to do this? Is he going to do that? It's like you just kind of get right back into the fire, and I think it'll only help me. So we'll see how it plays out.
DK, does it change the way you prepare guys with their approach all the way around? I mean, if you have to get ready a little bit quicker, you may need to keep those ears up.
Yeah, I think like what Wiz said, it's going to take some of the downtime away, and guys are just going to get right back in the box and stay with what they're doing. So hopefully it doesn't affect the hitters as much as it affects the pitchers.
Will it affect third base coaches? Willie, what do you say?
For me, man, I've been thinking about these new rules, and I think it's going to create more offense. For me, I'm already an aggressive third base coach. Moving forward, I think I'll be a lot more aggressive knowing that the shift's not there, those line drives with the second baseman standing way over in the hole where the guy on second may have to freeze to see it get through. But for me, man, it's pretty much the same. I like pace, I like speed, and makes the game go a little quicker. We score runs a lot I
No shift, thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you guys think?
Thumbs up for me.
Thumbs up.
Look,
Yeah.
I want the ball to go through. We hitters.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the ball needs to go through. That was quick.
I see you smiling over there, Patrick. You like the shift going away?
I mean, I think lefties a little more, right? But like for me, with maybe two strikes and I hit that ground ball up the middle, fighting it, and the second baseman standing right there behind the bag.
Right.
Oh, cool, out. Whereas it might be a base hit, or they might have to make a good play to get me out. So I think you'll see a lot more athleticism too up the middle, which is going to be cool.
So I like that part.
Yeah.
Athleticism, because if you're an athlete, I think you need to play your natural position. Playing out of position, things that make it harder.
Yeah.
For guys like, for me, I wasn't defensively sounded, but if you put me in my spot, I'm gonna make the routine play. But if you put me out of position, less than 50% chance I'm gonna make that play you need me to make routinely.
I mean, speaking of that too, like we talk about athleticism, you look at the middle of our defense, we got Swanson and Nico. Those guys are athletic. So those balls that are up the middle, Nico's getting those balls. I mean, those guys are gonna make plays. So to Wisdom's point, I think that's huge as far as, those athletes being up the middle and taking hits away from guys. You got to be able to make plays, and I think we have two guys who can make plays.
Yeah. DK, when it comes to approach, is it more of a bat-to-ball approach? Or are you thinking more just, put the ball in play and let it find some holes? Because even ground balls, hard-hit ground balls, that Willie, you and I were talking about the other day, they're going to find those holes.
I think guys stay the same, right? I don't think they're going to change much. Now that hit is a hit, right? That ball comes off the bat 2 years ago. You're thinking hit, and there's a guy standing right there. Now those balls get through. So I think guys are just going to stick to what they do and just get rewarded more now.
Yeah. What about the bigger bases? You're going to steal a few more bags? What do you say?
Yeah, I'm trying to get double digits.
Yes.
Chill, give me the green light a couple more times. No, I think, I think
He aggressive, he ain't that. No.
Yeah, when I get out there, I'm sitting there waiting every pitch for the green light. Okay, I got it. But now, it's like a good spot for the hitter to hit. I'm like, I'll let him swing it.
So, sometimes, Pat, you guys just say, I know the sign.
I ain't saying that, no way. That's a quick way, on the bench.
How much are you taking into account that there is a little bit more real estate on those bases? Are you going to be more apt to give guys free passes, or are you going to still pull back in the reins a little bit until you see how everything looks league-wide?
No, man, I'm not going to change who I am because they made bigger bases. I'm going to be me. I understand I'm going to make mistakes. I understand I'm going to send guys and get them thrown out. But if the scoreboard dictates that it's a good idea to send them, we're rolling. They know it. I know it. We're rolling.
DK, are you planting the seed in guys' head that, okay, you need to be busting out of the box because, that extra real estate we talked about, that could turn a base hit into a double just like that?
Yeah, I think like anytime you're sniffing out a hit, you're going hard.
Yeah.
And then with the shift rules now, like there's going to be more hits that guys are sniffing out. So like I said, hitting coach, I'm all for the shift.
I want to talk about what we haven't seen, well, at least my eyes haven't seen a lot of, is the double steals, hit and runs, like stuff where you're putting guys in motion. Is it more because we don't want to get an out up, which you never want to give outs up, I get it. But it's like you just don't see enough of the game, manufacturing, the game being played where you got guys like, why aren't you running in certain situations where, boom, put the ball in play, you got a guy who can put the ball in play, I'm just going to roll the ball out there and get that guy moving, get these guys making mistakes. Certain teams make a lot of mistakes because their guys are not ready for it because they don't see a lot of action defensively.
I think the way that game goes, it depends on your roster. I know last year, Rossi likes to bunt. Rossi likes to hit and run and those things. And we were down in Miami, and I want to think Quiros laid down a couple bunts, and the pitcher can't make the play. We're scoring runs like that, but I love that style of play. I mean, that's the way I played.
Yes, it is.
Hitting and running, that's the way I played, and I love it. It's action. But I think it all depends on the roster. You're not going to ask Hosmer to do those things.
Right.
You're not going to ask certain guys to do those things. But it's definitely important when you get to certain spots in the lineup, those guys being able to hit and run. Nico, he can handle the bat well. Madrigal can handle the bat. Certain guys can pull that off, and certain guys you feel a little bit less comfortable with doing those things.
Some of the guys that aren't going to be the guys that are go station to station and lay down those bunts, do you tell them just put themselves in good position for a guy like Nico, a guy like Esteban Quiros to maybe bunt them over, maybe put on that hit and run or maybe that safety squeeze and score them? Is that the mindset right now?
Yeah, I think it's just talking about like playing the game, right? Like what's the game dictating for us, right? Is this an opportunity to steal a hit, move a guy over? If the game's telling us to do it and we have an opportunity to do it, then take advantage of it.
Talk about taking advantage, the pitch clock. We talked about that just a second ago, but when it comes to you taking advantage of the pitchers out there, when you see them, maybe you're a little bit rattled, their delivery is rushed just a taste. Is that something that you maybe step out of the box, get back in, and are cognizant of? Because if that pitcher isn't all systems go, then the advantage goes to you.
Yeah, no doubt. You can sense it. We're competitors out there. We're watching them, every pitch. And so when you see them speed up, it's kind of like, all right, like it's now my turn to feed. And, you can sense them on their heels for sure.
I want every pitcher flustered.
Yeah.
I want them out there uncomfortable. I want them fidgety. You can just tell.
Yeah.
When the guys at the back of the mound, they don't have that much time anymore.
Yeah.
When guys just go behind the mound and stand there, at some point you gotta get on the bump.
Yeah.
And you're afraid to make a mistake. So you want these guys in this rush position. That's why I'm saying you get a chance to maybe steal a few hits, as you was talking about, D.
Yep.
It's just, these guys are not gonna be in the right frame of mind, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So you might be able to offensively take advantage early on.
Yeah.
But I want to talk to you about, for me, it was easy to get to the big league. I won't say easy and make it sound like it was that easy, but I'm saying like when you get to the big leagues, you there.
First rounder over here, right? First
hard to
rounder?
stay.
Yeah. Easy.
Still got to get there. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
How hard is it to stay? You want to answer some too, Chill.
Yeah.
How hard is it to stay here?
It's way harder than it is to get there. Because, you're exploited really fast. Your weaknesses are shown, but the game is changing. The game is much faster. And I think if you don't change it and you don't learn at this level, it's going to eat you alive. And so I think that's the biggest thing is staying, and one of the hardest things to do in this game. And kudos to you for doing it for so long. That's awesome. That's what we all strive to do, right? Is to be there every single day, showing up, ready to go, ready to compete. But you have a good staff, you got good teammates, you have a good clubhouse to kind of keep you in your lane.
That's key.
That's so helpful, and I think we have an incredible staff. I know they're sitting here, but I would say if they weren't sitting here, and clubhouse. So. It's awesome.
That changes everything.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? I had the luxury of getting to the league with Marquise Grissom, Larry Walker, Moise Alou, Randy Milligan. Randy Milligan took my first base glove and threw it in the trash. He was like, "That's too small. You ain't that good." I had this thing over there like, "Hey, right?" I couldn't miss nothing if you threw it. But it was like some things that you needed to keep you just grounded, and first rounder was gone. When you get to the big leagues, shoot at the first round stuff.
Yeah.
It's gone. I don't care who. It's poof.
Is it tougher as a first rounder? The expectations heightened
You
just a
don't
little
even
bit,
think
and
about
all
it
the
no
veterans
more,
say,
Cole.
"Look at this guy, first rounder.
No,
we're gonna show him."
You don't think about it no more.
Yeah.
Because he ain't let me think about it no more. He ain't let me think about it more. He's definitely not let me think about it no more when we go down to the cage. It's over.
Yeah.
It's because I was on the team hitting behind Mike Piazza. Was he in the first round?
No.
And he in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, he is.
So I see his statue in Cooperstown, and I ain't there. So I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
I think you just got, like, to your point, you got to grind and stay there. Somebody will always come behind you, man.
Yeah, it's about winning too.
Yeah.
Like, I think to your point about like the first rounder kind of going away, like it's cool in the minor leagues, you get like that notoriety, the prospect
Right.
list, whatever, but when you get to the big league, it's about winning. Like, what can I do to help this team win? Like, it don't matter if I was a first rounder, 30th rounder, whatever. Like, let's win.
Let's win.
Yeah, it's a every man for himself mentality, because those guys like Mike Piazza, who were drafted lower than the 60th round, they're fighting tooth and nail to get ahead of those first round draft picks each and every single day. And Willie, it's hard to make it, but how much harder is it to stay, like Cliff was saying?
It's definitely hard to stay, man. It's like Wiz said, you know, everyone picks up your weaknesses, and by week 2, every other team knows what those weaknesses are. But for me, I think it's all about staying true to yourself, not changing who you are. What you did to get here, that works. Continue to do that. But it's so much harder when you're a young guy. You come to the big leagues, and you know you want to impress your teammates, and you want to fit in, and you don't want anyone saying, "Oh, this guy's this or this guy's that." But for me, man, it's like be you. Be you. Especially these days now, the way the game is, we accept everyone. It don't matter what color you are, where you come from, what country you come from. Hey, man, be you.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, be that. Be the best you can be, and we'll pull this rope the same way to try to get these W's.
Coming up,
In the big leagues, everything is exploited.
It's definitely not as lucrative, but it's just as important.
I get to the cage, it felt like my hitting coach was like this every single day, rocking me to sleep.
Dustin, when it comes to being a hitting coach, you wear a multitude of hats, but keeping guys confident inside the batter's box, that's one of the key components to keeping them up in the bigs, isn't it?
It is. It is. And Chill touched on it, right? Like, you just got to be you, right? And what got you there is going to help keep you there. And then the small little adjustments, right? It's like that gas tank is almost full for all of these guys, and there's just a little bit left every day that they got to fill up. And keeping them going and going like that it's huge for these guys. Like, they're there for a reason, and you got to remind them of why they're so good. They're the best in the world, and that guy in the mound is pretty good, but you're better than him. And that's the mindset you got to keep going with.
That's the hardest thing, I think, for a hitting coach. It's to remind us constantly that we better than that guy on the mound, because I think somehow or another we give that guy on the mound too much credit.
Yeah.
I don't know how it happens. I know Justin Verlander's great. I know, well, back in the day, I knew Roger Clemens was great, and all these cats on the mound were great. But like how great am I? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that was the one thing that was. I get to the cage, it felt like my hitting coach was like this every single day, like, rocking me to sleep. I'm like, man, I gotta figure out how to get out of my head.
Yeah, like,
Right.
how do you know the pitcher wasn't saying like, oh, snap, I got Floyd in the lineup, you know?
Right.
Like, oh, or Wiz is in the lineup, or damn, I'm facing the Cubs today, you know? Like, you
That's
don't know
the
that, but
difference.
like, if you can kind of change your thought process.
And you know, we weren't allowed, and we talked about this the other day, we weren't allowed back in the day to strike out as youngsters. Or as any, like, the strikeout thing was like, I won't ever say it was an embarrassment. I actually felt embarrassed about striking out. That was just me personally. But it just feels like the game has allowed you to strike out more and still be okay with the fact that it's just part of the game. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, I think some of it's the roster, right? Like, you can't have 9 guys that are going to punch out a ton, right? But you can live with some guys in the middle of that lineup that are going to punch out when you've got some guys around them that are going to keep moving the lineup along, right? And those guys a lot of times take their chances, right? And taking your chances comes with, you know, some swing and miss. So, I mean, nobody wants to strike out. Nobody's going up there saying, I'm going to either strike out or hit a homer.
Right.
But it's become part of it, is you're going to take some more chances to lift the ball and get it out of the air.
Is the chances more on guessing in certain situations, or is it just like you said, part of the roster. Like that guy, this certain guys don't strike out. Like I play with on certain teams, there's certain guys just you knew you're just gonna get a few strikeouts. But is it more on like instead of just saying with 2 strikes, I'm not guessing anymore. I'm gonna play A to B, see the ball, hit it. You know what I'm saying? Like does it vary?
I think it does approach-wise, right? And the matchup. Some guys you walk up there and you're like, I got this guy.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter if I get to 2 strikes. I'm comfortable with him 2 strikes. And there's other guys who are like, I don't even want to get to 1. I got to put this thing in play real quick because I don't want to get there.
Yeah. See, Chipper Jones told me that. I'll tell you that story all the time.
Talk about it.
I take a pitch, I get strike 1. I end up hitting a double, get to third base. Chipper goes, you that good? I'm thinking about to give me a dap and say what's up. So he goes, you that good? I go, what you mean? He goes, you take the first pitch like you golden. It changed my thought process from going from on deck circle to the box thinking, I don't want to get to 2 strikes. I was never comfortable 2 strikes.
Yeah.
Do you ever get uncomfortable when you get to the point where you're like, I don't want to get 2 strikes. I want to be aggressive.
Yeah,
Strike.
for sure. I mean, I think that's just my nature. I'm just an aggressive swinger,
Right.
aggressive hitter. So, I mean, to your point, I'm ready to go as soon as I get in that box. I mean, nowadays, and I'm sure, you know, when you play too, like the secondary stuff is nasty. Like, it's nasty. Like, and so if I don't have to see it, the better off, right? And so, but I mean, I think to your point, it's about being aggressive with what you want and like where you can do damage.
DK, refresh everyone's memory. How old are you again?
39.
Okay, so that's going to be the line of demarcation. We're going to go 40 and below. So us three, we're in that old school basket right there when it comes to the old school approach. I'm not going to say who's the oldest of the old school, but we can guess. But anyways, when it comes to that approach, you talked about the strikeout. Now it seems as if it's cyclical. Everyone says, well, the pitchers, they're so much better this day and age. But when you look, sometimes pitchers, they don't go over 100 pitches. They rarely go over 5 innings. And the hitters coming up, whether it's high school, college, low A ball, A, double A, they've seen guys that throw 95, 97, triple digits. So it's almost a what came first, the chicken or the egg. Are the hitters, are they lacking right now, or are the pitchers just that much better?
I think a lot of it has to do with the matchups, right? The game has just changed so much with the information of those 3 outs that guy needs to get in, whether it's the 3rd, the 4th, or the 7th, are just as important as those last 3 outs. So guys will empty their bullpen in the 4th if they need to in that part of the lineup. So they're coming after you with the best stuff to try and get those 3 outs at that one part in the game.
So you don't feel, and I'll ask both of you guys about this, that it's a issue of dollars and cents? Because right now, you know, if you're hitting doubles and you're hitting home runs, you're taking free passes and your OPS is through the roof, guess what? You're going to get paid when it comes to the long ball. If you're a guy who's laying down bunts, getting base hits, stealing bases, not as lucrative these days. Wouldn't you agree, Will?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's definitely not as lucrative, but it's just as important.
Absolutely.
It's like one of those things where they also say RBIs don't matter now, right?
They need to chill with that, right?
Until you need to score a run, get that guy from 3rd with less than 2. Now it
Another day,
matters.
Juan Gonzalez, 100 plus
huge.
at the break. That didn't matter though.
It's very important, man.
Heck yeah.
Exactly.
It's huge.
Golly.
I mean, it's almost like, right, it's not important until you need it,
Okay.
so to speak. But I think just to talk about you guys, what you're talking about, like the strikeouts, if you're a guy who strikes out, but you're a guy who hits homers, be you.
True.
Right.
That's who you are. And whatever team you're on, whoever the player is, they know who they are. The front office, they know who they are. The managers, they know what you do. So don't change who you are. Try to get better, for sure. Try to get better, always try to get better, but always be you. That's why you're there in the first place.
Is that what you're looking for,
Yeah.
guys? Just to be themselves, go out there and don't worry about it. Whatever got you there, let it keep you here.
Yep.
Yeah, like, I mean, I know I strike out a lot, but I've talked to some of the hitting guys and Willie, but it's like, when are those strikeouts coming? Is it like important situations, running on 3rd, less than 2 outs, or, you know, running on 2nd? Like, if I'm leading off the inning, I punch out, okay, like, I can handle that, right? But it's like, when are they coming?
Right.
And so that made it like kind of different perspective for me. And like being okay, like maybe not as embarrassed as it was before in certain ones, and then carrying it at bat to a bat, but like, hey, I'm trying to get my ribbies, and like I want to be productive for my team.
How about
that's the
this scenario?
conversation, though.
Okay,
That-
runner on 2nd and 3rd,
Yeah.
7th inning, you got 2 outs. Are you looking to put one in the bleachers, or are you looking to just play a little pepper and push them across?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think with 2 outs, it's playing pepper. Let's get these runs across. I'm gonna do everything I can to get these runs across. Maybe early in the game, like I'll take my chances and give me a couple swings to, put in the bleachers. But
Sure.
And I think that goes with the matchup, like, right, like, all right, does this guy give up homers or does he not? And then you're like, okay, well, am I going to be that stubborn or ego-driven to like, I'm going to prove all these analytics wrong?
Yeah.
Like, nah, let's play the game. So
See,
I think that comes with
Cool
experience.
mentality. RBIs do matter.
It does come with the experience, but it also, like when I use the word embarrassment, that's me being me. Like I actually felt a certain type of way about how I played.
Yeah.
I did the strategy part of it never changed because I want to be in the winning column just as much as you want to be in the winning column.
Yeah.
I just tried to play it differently in my head because I was aggressive. So early on I wasn't aggressive and I thought I had to play the game that wasn't me. Right. Take a pitch, take my time, get into that bat. Well, the bat's over. Because I'm gonna take one for a strike, foul off one, now I'm in the hole 2.
Yep.
And you looking at me like, what are you doing? They looking at me like, what are you doing? So that part of it is where you're trying to figure out. I was just trying to figure out philosophy-wise, as a team, your speech to all the boys coming into here, like, how we gonna play this out?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your role? What's your role? You know what I mean? So everybody, like, I know my role, I'm gonna stay in my lane. I'm not gonna try to do anything different than what my lane dictates.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, Wiz said play the game, right? And like the game is going to dictate what we need, right?
Yeah.
And like if you have 9 guys that are locked into that game and they know what the team needs, like then you get those team at bats when they really, really matter.
Yeah.
And then you take some chances, right? You come up with, a runner on second, 2 outs, and open base. Like, I don't know, is he going to give me anything or not? Or am I going to take my walk? I'm going to take my walk. I got somebody behind me that's going to do the job.
Is that hard? Is that hard to get guys to buy into taking that walk? I used to hate it.
Walking?
I mean,
It's Richie's on?
You wanted to hit though, right?
of course.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I just hated walking. Like I just felt like I took the walk, but it was like I missed a couple pitches in that at bat.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta take
Double
this walk.
definitely looks better than a walk.
There it is.
Yeah, I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Were you the guy that with the 3-0 count would swing at a bad pitch just so you had one more chance to get that strike?
I would look down at Willie Chill, and I'm hoping he don't give me nothing so I can hack.
You 3-0 hacks?
I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved
I
the
do too.
mindset. I felt like
It's probably the best
I worked,
pitching
I
around.
worked
right.
myself to get to this 3-0 count. Now I got to take one that's
Right.
sitting there cookie high. He didn't just let off the gas a little bit. Now he's throwing 92 right down the middle, and I gotta go.
Hey man, for me, just sitting here listening to you big power guys talk about how you didn't like to walk. You didn't say that. I know you said that. But like for me, I loved it.
Of course you did.
I want
You're
to
still
walk.
in second
I
and
want to
third.
still second and third. You guys are saying like, oh, I hate walking because y'all want to bang, right?
Right.
That goes back to knowing your role. Like my role was to walk,
Right.
get into scoring position
setter.
for you guys. That was my job. But like to hear y'all say that, and now I know like, dang, these boys just want to hit balls in the seats. I couldn't do that.
Right. Yeah.
That's all I can do.
Yeah.
So just knowing who you are, right? If you give to the game will always give back to you. Jerry Manuel taught me that when it's been with me ever since. If you give to the game will always give back to you. What does that mean? I didn't know what that meant as a player. But now as a coach, it means makes perfect sense to me. Do what you're supposed to do. You might not get a knock in this
Right.
situation, but if I move this run over from second to third with 1 out now, I'll get my opportunity later on. Might not be tonight,
Right.
but it'll come tomorrow if the
Yeah.
other guy's doing it. Just pulling that rope, pulling that the same way. Give myself up to set you up.
Yeah.
We win the game as a team. Little things.
Bunts win ball games, right?
Bunts are damaged too.
Man, if you can bunt,
Yep.
you play with so many cats that can't bunt.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then the 5 o'clock guy can bunt perfectly fine. I go, well, I know the velocity is not the same.
Yeah.
But like Greg Maddux was amazing. I wouldn't condone like turning your body whole and like your face exposed to these cats throwing 100 now. But I don't know how you bunt. Like how do you bunt successfully and like put yourself in position? Now bunting for a hit is totally different.
Right.
That's a skill. That's an art.
Right.
But just bunting, like I need this guy at third base.
For me, man, the way I think about it is, I look down at the third base coach, I see the bunt sign, automatically in my mind, I'm an out. My
You have to
manager,
think that
my
way.
manager wants me to make an out. That's pretty much what it means. I'm giving myself up. I'm not gonna turn square, try to be perfect. That's not what he's asking me to do. He's asking me to get this guy over for the next man. I'm already out. I get the bunt down, do my job, high fives in the dugout.
Yeah,
You did your job.
Yep.
That's what it means to me.
Mentally, how you go game to game. Mentally, like just holding fort, being able to crumble that paper, good or bad, and throw it in the trash when we walk out the door.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, you're constantly learning how to do that and like adapt and make it better. Some days, like some things work for you, some days they don't. Obviously, the good days are easy to like carry on, but flush. You're like, okay, I went 3 for 4 yesterday, whatever. But now I'm on to today, and we're gonna keep it going. But I think the offers kind of linger longer. But I think that goes to what I said earlier, like having a staff around you and teammates around you to kind of like help you flush that in a sense. I'm not saying like being babied, but like find ways to quickly get over it, or just remind you who you are. And because I think that's part of staying, right? It's in the big leagues, everything is exploited, not only your weaknesses, but like the games. So you have to learn how to do that. And I think for me, it's watching other guys that are successful do it, like watching Hap, watching Nico, like guys that can consistently go out there day in and day out and just see how they handle it mentally.
Coming up,
You start listening. If you listen and pay attention to detail, it'll open you up.
That's trouble if I got all that cash. That's trouble. Just being honest.
let me hold on to this
It
real
took care
quick.
of me, man.
Now, fellas, let's dig into the season, because this year not only will you face your division mates 13 times, it's going to be a balanced schedule. You're going to see every single team in the league. DK, does that change the way you prepare your hitters and their approach at all?
I think we just haven't seen these guys as much, right? And so the advance reports are going to change a little bit with the way we prepare our guys to hit and get ready for each night, because we're going to New York and then we're going to Oakland, and there's places that we haven't been to in a couple years. So it'll be fun though. I mean, I think everybody's looking forward to it. Like when that schedule came out and they're talking about the way that we're going to play everybody, I think everybody's like, this is great for baseball.
Yeah. Well, are you putting in phone calls to guys who may be on the staff in Seattle, or teams that you may not cross paths with in other years, but you're trying to get a little intel and maybe something that you would know that you wouldn't know otherwise?
Nah, I'm not reaching out to those guys. We got a great R&D department.
Okay.
We got great athletes. We'll be prepared. Wherever we go that we haven't been in a while, we will be prepared.
Cliff, how different is it going to be to see each and every single team play each and every single team this year?
It's gonna be different,
Yeah.
but I think, like D said, it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be entertaining. You know what? I played in an era where there wasn't a lot of change. There wasn't a lot of, it wasn't just like, what you're getting every single year. Come out, ball, if you win the division, great. Don't go to the crib. Now you got so many different avenues to get to the postseason. That in itself is enough. If you're a winner, then you should be chomping at the bit to play some of these teams, because let's keep it real. Some of these teams are not going to be competitive, and you're going to be able to take advantage of some of these teams you're playing that you necessarily wouldn't have otherwise, because you don't play them enough, right? So I think that's going to open up a lot of doors for you guys to get to where I think y'all should be, and y'all should win this division.
Will some of the same rivalries remain, or you think there'll be some different rivalries now that you're going to be playing every single team? Because we've seen sometimes there's a East Coast and a West Coast team, and when they mix things up, it's like oil and water, man.
Yeah, I think it'll be heightened, because you're only going to play so many like division rivals so many times. So all those games are really going to matter now. But yeah, I think to your point, there might be like new rivalries starting. There's 30 teams for a reason. Like, let's play them all. Like, that's my perspective.
Yeah. What do you think about that, fellas?
As far as a rivalry goes, man, it's the Cardinals for me.
Yeah.
I don't care where we go. When we go to St. Louis, it's a different mindset. Mm-hmm. It's a different focus, and that's just for me. I know the guys' mentality, it pretty much doesn't change. But playing the Cardinals, I want to beat them. Obviously, we want to beat everybody, but it's just different. Playing the Cardinals and playing the White Sox, it's just different. And I played for the White Sox, but I turned that page a long time ago. So I'm on the north side, we play the south side.
No
That's
doubt.
just how it is.
If we only had a former St. Louis Cardinal within arms. What's that rivalry like for you?
Yeah, it's different because, I still know a lot of guys over there. But, in terms of winning, I want to pound them into the sand and, run up the score. I want to win.
Right.
That's just my nature. I want to win. So, especially when they come into town, on our turf, I think it's even better to beat them.
When you talk about getting wins versus St. Louis, we know they're the proverbial thorn in the side in the division. Cubs haven't won the division since 2020, and as a newcomer to the organization, how bad do you want to win that division title?
I think it starts with Rossi, right? I mean, he's all about winning, and like he sets the tone that we're here to win, and then these players feed off it too. I mean, that's what these guys are talking about in the cage around the field. It's like we're going to win, like we're expected to win, and we're going to win, and that's the mentality of it.
Right.
When you see the guys that they came here to camp, a lot of guys here a lot earlier than planned, that pretty much just lets everybody know that winning is at the top of the list, right, Willie?
I mean, the expectations are high.
Huge.
You hear like Rossi and all these guys like DK, you hear he didn't use the word our goal. Our goal is to win. No, we expect to win. Yeah. The word is expectations. Like, we're not coming in here trying to, our goal is to do this. No, we're expecting to win a division. We know it's not going to be easy. We know the Cardinals are good. Yep. We know the Brewers are good. Anybody can beat you, right? But if we stay within ourselves and know who we are and expect to win, we'll be right where we need to be when that clock runs out.
When you think about expecting to win, you got to have a good offense. You got to score runs. I don't care how you look at it. You got to score some runs. You got to eliminate the stress on the pitcher, so you can go out there and not pitch to perfection every night, right? So this offense, you're always looking for length. I've always felt like Tommy Harper back in the day. You remember Tommy Harper back? He used to always talk about length and putting that pressure on the opposing pitcher. Just talk about the offense you guys now have with the length that you have throughout it.
I mean, there's good hitters from 1 to 9, right? And like writing that lineup out every day for Rossi is going to be tough, right? Because there's a lot of guys that are going to be in the mix for that middle of the lineup. And I mean, you could be hitting 7 one day and hitting 2 the next day. And that's what you're talking about with the length, right? Like from 1 to 9, there's guys that can bang.
When you take a look at some of those guys with Pop, there's Patrick, there's Seiya, who came in looking a whole lot thicker this year, Cody Bellinger. How will the season's success be determined by those guys' success this year?
Yeah, I think it's a big part of it, right? It is. I mean, when guys go off, the team goes off, right? So like everybody's got their individual goals and what they're going to do, but if you put 1 through 9 every single night going out there putting together the ABs that we expect them to have, it's going to be a good year for everybody.
Hey, do you write on a notepad?
I do this year, yeah.
Do you do you put your expectations down on a notepad?
I have in the past, yeah. Kind of got away from it, but
I did it a couple years. I got away from it a couple years, but if I used to write them down and then go back. You obviously would forget about them because we're playing.
Yeah.
And you go back and look, you like, that was pretty close.
Yeah.
Somehow or another, unless you get hurt, if you're out there and you get 500, 600 opportunities to bang, you can run down, take a picture, and send you home, right? That's what Adam Jones just said. I'm gonna hit 30 and 100. Like,
what happened if you got to 30?
Well, that was the thing.
Change it for 40?
You're damn right. Go back and look like, we can throw that up.
Sell myself short.
It's funny you make mention of that. You know who else used to do that? Ferguson Jenkins, 267 complete games. He said before each and every single season, he would put in an envelope a piece of paper with some of those goals and some of those things that he would like to attain on as the season approached. And more times than not, he would win.
Close.
We saw him,
it's just,
20-game winner,
crazy.
20, just rattled it off every single year. But when you think of the season that you'd like to have this season, do you put any additional pressure on yourself knowing that, hey, if I come to the ballpark every single day and I do what needs to be done, this team, we're going to be a force?
Yeah, I think that's it. Is keeping it simple, but also having like those goals written down. I think that just adds to the fact of coming to the park every single day, ready to go, ready to like put your teammate first and pull, like Willie's been saying, pull the rope in the same direction. I think if we can, eliminate the egos. Not saying we do, because I don't think we do at all. I think we're all going to be collective and pulling the rope the same way. I think when that clock runs out, we're going to be right where we want to be.
Willie, we know you like to play small ball. You also like to pick it a little bit, play a little defense out there, and there's the possibility at some time on the field of 6 Gold Glovers being out there. Welcomed 4 Gold Glovers into the fray. How strong could this team be defensively? Because back in 2020, they won a team Gold Glove, the inaugural edition, by the way.
I think we have the ability to be very strong defensively. You got Happer in left field, just won his first Gold Glove. He's here with a ton of confidence. We got Bellinger in center, former MVP Gold Glover. Seiya Suzuki's a really good outfielder as well, Gold Gloves in Japan. I mean, I don't want to speak for the infielders because I don't spend a whole lot of time with those guys doing defensive work, but they're pretty good too, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I know this guy's good.
Yeah.
I know Swanson and Nico, they're good. I know Hosmer's got Gold Gloves. I mean, I know the Barnhart, and I know what we have, right? But we still have to go out and play. But for me, like with the outfielders, it's like controlling the damage. Like let's throw the ball to the right base. We're gonna score runs. Let's minimize the other team's damage so we can get in on offense and we can do the damage. It's just the little things that goes, without saying, that people don't talk about, like keeping that double play in order. It's huge. We got guys like Stroman on the mound, like he said, throwing that Sanka.
It's going to be Sankin this
throwing
year,
that
like you
Sanka,
said. Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
And you got those guys up in the middle who's going to turn two. Let's throw the ball to the right base.
Yeah.
Let's play the game the right way. Let's know the situation. Take a peek at the scoreboard. It'll tell you everything you need to do. Just take a peek.
That's huge.
Dansby Swanson,
I like that.
Gold Glover. Eric Hosmer, he has 4 Gold Gloves. Nico's been a Gold Glove finalist. As you sit and look around the infield, does that give you a little extra nudge saying, hey, you know what, I'd like some Rawlings Heart of the Hide Gold Glove hardware in my rumpus room as well?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm out there learning, watching what they do, watching their routine, picking their brain, just to learn and add to my repertoire. Like maybe something I can add to my game, or something I can work on. So yeah, I think having those guys around is huge.
Absolutely. Willie, you talked about the importance of having your head on a swivel and knowing your role, but when it comes to guys being in the right position at the right time, base running, it all boils down to that. You don't want to make too many mistakes out there on the base paths. Where does that rank on the level of importance, man?
Oh man, for me, it's probably one of the most important things as far as base running. Like as an offense, hitting, as an offense, if we're putting pressure on the defense, we're going first to third, that's going to help our offensive production, right? If we're tagging up from second to third with less than 2, getting to third with 1 out, that's going to help our offensive production. All of those little things is going to help our offense. Okay, we don't have it today. We're facing Corbin Burns, filthy. What are we going to do to beat him? We got to do something, right?
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Read that ball in the dirt. Get a good jump at first base, man. Anticipate that cutter getting away or that slider in the dirt. Little things. That outfielder going this way, tag up on him, run in his face. Those are the little things that I pay attention to, but I understand that, the players, they really don't see those things now. I didn't see them when I played.
But why is it always that? You always see everything
it's
when
crazy.
it's time to go.
It's crazy.
Right?
And I had a coach tell me, Tommy Thompson, a long time ago, he said, Willie, don't forget you played this game. I'm like, what are you talking about? What does that mean? I know exactly what it means. It's so easy to see players nowadays, okay, he swings at a pitch in the dirt. It's so easy to say, man, what are you swinging at?
Right.
But guess what? I did the same thing. So I know what he's swinging at. I know what he feels up there. My job is to pick him up
see you
and
laughing
pump
over
him
there
up.
about
I get
that,
the text
right?
messages all the time.
Yeah, I tell him all the time. I mean, yeah, it's easy when you sit down watching.
Yeah. With a suit on.
We do that in the
I
studio
do it all the
sometimes,
time.
don't we?
My
Yeah.
boys been texting me going, really? I go, I ain't supposed to be watching this. How you see this?
It's easy though. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
that's just the nature of the game, right? And just who we are as players and people. Like the first thing you do is you want to be negative. Okay, let's switch that. Let's be positive.
Sure.
Like, what can I do if I see Wiz swinging something and I know he normally doesn't swing it? I'll go up to him. He'll tell you, hey man, you all right, dog? Shake it off.
Right. Yeah.
Or I'll go up to him and I'll be like, hey man, you're not yourself today. What's up? I do it to him all the time. And not just him, I do it to all of them. We have to hold each other accountable.
Sure.
Right? Because sometimes the game is so hard. Let's not forget this game is very, very difficult. And it's so easy to get caught up into yourself. And you forget, okay, man, I'm a baller. I'm in the big leagues.
Yeah. Right.
I'm one of the best in the world. You forget that because you're so caught up into what's going on. No, step outside of yourself for a second and don't forget, hey, man, I'm a bad dude.
Yeah.
That's a bad dude right there.
Bad guy right here.
It's a bad dude.
And we forgot it all the time. I mean, you said something earlier, like I totally forgot sometimes, especially when you're struggling, that this guy on the mound just got called up yesterday. Well, he got called up last week. And he's going to pitch exactly what we just saw on the tape. Now, he's not the guy that's going to change every at-bat like Greg Maddux and some of the other cats. But this guy's going to throw the ball to the plate 1-0, just like he did in the tape. We just saw it. But I've given him so much credit. He's supposed to have this big arm or whatever the case may be. I totally lost who I am for that one moment. That's all it takes in the game. You're 0 for 4. You're going to the crib. And you're going, how did he get me out? That's the worst thing I felt like. I mean, some cats you're trying to get one at bat. You're trying to get that one hit or come through somehow or another, get that run across the plate. But it's just the guys that's like, oh my gosh, no way.
Yeah.
Is he supposed to get me out there 4 times? That's what beats you up, and I think that's the job I was telling you. Like,
Right.
that's the tough one, right? Because I'm coming down there and you're like, well, you gave away at 4, swinging at stuff that you just typically don't swing at, you know.
And how frustrating is it to go 0 for versus a guy who you thought you should have went 4 for 4 versus, and then there's a day where you may go 3 for 4 versus a Greg Maddux?
Well, the change in that is how I saw was, like, you start listening. If you listen and pay attention to detail, it'll open you up to so many different dynamics throughout the course of the game. It's just what it is. Like, I remember facing Greg Maddux one time with Derek Lee, former Cub. He goes, what we gonna do today? I said, swing at everything he throws. He goes, you crazy. I go, I might be crazy, but what other chance we got against this cat? We went up there and we swung at everything he threw. And we got 5 hits total. I'm taking that to the crib. We executed what our game plan was. Yeah. Now, if it didn't work, well, he's gonna probably eat our wood up anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think you gotta have a game plan and, like, try to stick to it. And that's what I tried to do. Later on, you know, early on the game was moving so fast, Chill. I could never settle. It was just, I never got comfortable. It was very uncomfortable for a long time.
Didn't get comfortable for 17 years, huh? So, yeah.
No.
Okay.
But I mean, that's kind of a good thing, though, right? Like,
Yeah.
it made you keep, like, working or staying on your toes, like.
Absolutely. You know, certain dudes you talk to around the cage and make you feel like you're doing something wrong. I remember talking to Chase Utley, and he said, you gave that guy credit? I was like, he was very comfortable in his own skin. He was very confident. He was like, if you hear these guys on the PGA Tour, because that's what I do now at 50, I golf, and you listen to these guys and they say, you know what, I'm very confident even though I'm having a bad day out here. That's Chase Utley. That's a lot of guys. A lot of guys feel like they're so comfortable that they don't even think like me saying I'm struggling.
They know
right
the
now,
bad days are going to be there.
They're already over it, and that to me is where you made it. You like, I got it. You know, because I never, until I retired, I'm telling you, it wasn't too many days I was comfortable.
Coming up.
You always want to outwork the next guy, and, like, hard work is, like, the greatest thing ever.
Man, I always strive to be somebody like that.
You sure? Check your voicemail, bro. I checked it.
He's out there yelling at me. Right. Throw me a ball. Throw me a ball.
He's probably asking for 2. Being comfortable, obviously you guys have been comfortable in making your way up to the majors. Obviously as a player, you're playing right now as the hitting coach. But when you take a look and go back, your 16-year-old self, Dustin, I'm gonna start with you. Is there any piece of advice that you would give that 16-year-old version of yourself, and how would he think of you right now?
I think he'd be pretty happy that I'm sitting in this chair right now. I think I envisioned it being a player, right? I mean, I think we all thought, or I at least thought I was going to be a big leaguer, and that doesn't happen. But you get in this chair and you're like, all right, like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But enjoy it more, right? Like, I think I grinded, and like, you always want to outwork the next guy, and, like, hard work is, like, the greatest thing ever. But, like, enjoy that hard work and know that you're doing it because you love it, not because you're trying to outwork somebody.
The grind is a blessing. Would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Willie, how about you? What do you say?
I'd say have fun, man. Enjoy the game. Don't forget who you are. Know your strengths. Mm-hmm. Stay away from your weaknesses. Work on them, but stay away from them. That's why they're weaknesses, right?
Yeah.
Work on them. That's really all you can do. And just be yourself. Play the game. Learn the game.
How about 16-year-old Cliff Floyd? I remember I was looking in the Tribune, and they'd always have the list of the top 25 highest batting averages, and whose name would always be at the top of the list? This guy right here. What advice would you give to the 16-year-old Cliff Floyd?
I would just say, man, continue, like, finding out who you are consistently every single day. That to me is one of the most important things. Finding time for yourself to understand who you are in every moment, in every facet, and take in this experience. I mean, you have to take it in, because when it's gone and the phone don't ring no more, you ain't there for a while. But when it don't ring, you call your agent going, you sure? Check your voicemail, bro. I checked it. Then you start understanding, like, you know what, it's gone forever. So take it all in and, like, appreciate, you know, the good times and learn from the bad.
Yeah, there's only one guy that's undefeated, as we all know, and he goes by the name of Father Time. So, like you said, enjoy it while you're there. Any advice for the 16-year-old Patrick Wisdom?
I think I would say, like, I know it's kind of cliche, but like, be you, because everyone else is taken. You know, like, you can't fit in everybody else's shoes. And I think sometimes, like when I was younger, got caught up in a lot of like noise from other people. Then you lose track of who you are, and like Willie was saying, like your strengths. You got to hone in on those, polish them up, and keep them in your pocket all the time.
Absolutely. Now, you and I were able to go talk to some kids at elementary school the other day. When it comes to experiences, you said some of your best and most favorite big league experiences are things of that nature. Going out there and being able to talk to the young kids, the youth, the big leaguers of tomorrow. Just let everybody know how important it is that you not only go there and let those kids see you face to face, but give them that message and let them know that anything is possible.
Yeah, for sure. Because I remember as a kid going to the ballpark, and like the ones that stood out were the ones that like made time for me as a kid, or just looked at you and gave you a smile, like, hey, what's up? Like just acknowledging that you were there. I'm like, dang, that's cool. Yeah. And now I'm following this cat all around, and looking him up, or whatever, playing with him on the video game. So I always I always strive to be somebody like that, and so to like give back, I think that it's so cool to like be in this seat and shoes, if you will.
I think there's going to be a few kids over there that always remember the day that they were able to meet Patrick Wisdom face to face. Cliff, do you remember your first interaction with a Major League Baseball player?
Yeah, growing up in Chicago, I had the luxury to have two teams, Cubs and White Sox, right? Didn't see a lot of Cubs games, even though they was on WGN at the time, because they had no lights, so they played during the day. So I was outside in the summertime, so I never caught those games. But my dad, when we got off work, would take me to Old Comiskey, and Harold Baines threw me my first ball. And Harold Baines is my guy. Like I vouched for him to get in the Hall of Fame when they were like, who we talking about today? I was like, I'm talking about Harold Baines. I need him in the Hall of Fame. I never forget the conversation. I asked for 2 balls. He goes, I gave you 1. I go, well, I got a brother. I didn't have a brother. I just wanted 2 balls. So you remember the interactions, you know what I mean? Like, that's just how we thought, right? Like, I know I was going to lose 1. Well, my homeboy is going to take 1 back in the, in the hood. They're going to be like, man, give me that ball. I had another one, I was thinking as a kid outside the box. But I remember that interaction with Harold Baines, and forever live.
Have you told Harold Baines that story?
Of course I did.
Okay. All right.
He like, give my ball back.
Yeah. Keep one of those. Keep one of those. Willie, is there any moment that you remember when you had an interaction with the major leaguer for the first time where you were like, wow, this thing really could happen for me?
Big Hurt.
Really?
Big Hurt. Going to spring training in 2002.
Okay.
2002, I got traded from the Orioles for Chris Singleton, whatever. Go to spring training in Tucson, Arizona.
Electric Park.
Walk into the clubhouse, Big Hurt. He's from Columbus, Georgia. I'm from Cairo, Georgia. They're fairly close. Mm-hmm. His high school coach, Bobby Howard, was my college coach.
Okay.
So we kind of had that connection, but when I walked in the clubhouse, I went straight to his locker. The people who know me, I'm not shy. I'm not scared to talk. Mm-hmm. I'm not afraid. So I walked right up to him. Big Hurt, what's up? And we talked for a few minutes. He put his arm around me. And when we started making money during the season, Big Hurt used to take my paychecks, save them for me throughout the whole year. At the end of the year, he'd give me all of my money.
Wow.
I'm 22, 23 years old in Chicago. That's trouble if I got all that cash. That's trouble, just being honest.
Let me hold on to this
He
real
took care of
quick.
me, man. Big Hurt took care of me.
Up.
He looked out for me. He showed me love, man, and I'm grateful for him. Grateful to have played with him for 3-4 years. Love him to death. Right now today, we still talk. He's my guy.
Yeah, how cool was it to see Frank Thomas at the Field of Dreams, you out there as a third base coach, and him as one of the owners of the Field of Dreams?
He's out there yelling at me.
Right.
Throw me a ball. Throw me a ball.
He's probably asking for 2 like Cliff over here.
Yeah, balls, right? You don't want a baseball, but I mean, it's fun to see. Like, I'm happy for him, everything he's doing for the game. He's a great dude. I just love me some Big Hurt. Always been a fan of Big Hurt.
Absolutely. He can swing it a little bit too.
He can swing it a little bit.
DK, was there any interaction that you remember fresh in your banks?
Yeah, I was probably 8 years old. A childhood friend of mine, his dad pitched in the big leagues with the Cardinals, and we actually got him to go into the locker room at Dodger Stadium. So, and I met Ozzie Smith, and that was like my guy.
right.
He was, and I can't remember if he was my guy.
I thought you were going to
before
say
that.
your friend's dad was your guy, but
No,
then you go with the wizard, Ozzie Smith, doing backflips
His
out
name
there
was
on the time.
Brent Smith. He was a
Okay,
right-handed
nice.
pitcher,
Okay,
a great
I got you.
changeup.
Nice.
But yeah, Ozzie Smith was my guy from that moment
Yeah.
on. Like walking through that clubhouse and getting to meet those guys, and like you're just looking up, like,
Yeah.
this is
Like
the
the Wiz.
coolest thing
Yeah.
in the world.
Cleanest shortstop of all time defensively. Can we all agree upon that?
Facts.
Yeah, Ozzie
I
Smith.
played some good ones too.
Pretty good.
I
All
don't
right,
know.
guys.
I don't know. I like Omar.
Omar Vizquel, yeah, he could glove it as well. I mean, that's
But I mean, Ozzie was a different era for me.
right.
I saw Omar, and it was ridiculous.
okay.
So,
No hits over there.
oh man, you better not hit that.
We're gonna have another roundtable where we discuss all defense all day. But before we get out of here, guys, 2023 obviously right around the corner. So I want to get some parting thoughts, some parting shots. What are the expectations, and what do you hope to see as the season rolls around?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see guys that just compete every single day. Guys are going to show up ready to play. Our staff's going to get them prepared. They're going to go out and do their jobs, and it's going to be fun. It's a fun team. There's some personalities out there, and there's really good players. So you're going to see some fun baseball.
What do you say, Willie? It's going to be fun?
Oh, it's definitely gonna be fun. You got guys like me on the staff. It's gonna be fun, but I expect to see togetherness. We got a great group of older guys and younger guys, just playing together, sticking together, understanding and knowing every day is not gonna be a great day. Maybe not for you or for me, but somebody's gonna pull that rope.
Yeah.
Pick me up today, Cliff. I need you. Hey,
Yeah.
man, pick me up today, Wizzy. And pick each other up over the course of the season. And like I said, when that bell rings and ends, we'll be right where we need to be.
Yeah. Pete, what do you say, man?
Yeah, same. I think coming out hot, coming out together, and just enjoying like the collectiveness and the team. I think a lot of good things are going to happen with that. So I'm just excited, and I mean I'm eager to get going.
Yeah. Cliff, how about you? You and I, we're going to be hunkered down on that desk for a whole bunch of shows. What do you say? Looking forward to 2023 or what?
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already put my prediction out there. Look, I've looked at the division. This team is situated, in my opinion. Once you figure out the precious 3 outs at the end of the bullpen, which is probably going to be figured out, you got some guys capable. I mean, you won 74 last year. I'll put them at the point where they should win the division. Now, look, health and all that plays a part. You already say you got to play the game between the lines. The team that I see with the names on the back of the jersey, so y'all should get it done.
Yeah, this team, they look to be competitive,
Yeah.
and the end goal is winning an NL Central title for the first time since 2020. And gentlemen, I want to extend a big time thank you to you guys for taking your time out of your busy schedule to
Absolutely,
join us right here. Patrick, Dustin, Willie,
Appreciate you.
Cliff, I guess you're obligated to be here, but you're here anyways, and thanks, we appreciate it. And looking forward to
watch 'em out.
2023. It's going to
Yeah,
be
everybody always
a
told me out there,
whole
dog,
lot
that's
of
what we
fun.
do.
So that is going to do it for this Cubs 360 special 2023 look ahead presented by Miller Lite. So until opening day, we'll see you then. These guys, they're all ready to get after it. Thanks again, folks.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate
Thank you.
the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
That was sick.
That was fun. I appreciate that.
That was some good stuff.
Yeah, I like it. That was organic. That was sick. That was real.
Yeah, we gotta do that again.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome.